In this video help, what we're going to do is a little bit of a repeat, but in some respects we've just covered the screen for the auction purchase information, but step through the sub-screens just to review, to let you see what each screen looks like as an individual screen. So what we do, we have these screens that we popped out as popovers, and most of these are going to be portal screens, but we're going to go through and look at each one. They are in the order. For example, we did the auction screen, which is the one we're looking at. The next one is the contact screens. These are the contacts in the portal that are related contacts to the primary contact for the police auction in this case. And this is the Ralph Mann, who's one of them. If we went to a different record and tapped in the portal to go to the record in the row, it would take us to here. If I went back over here, for example, and looked at the related contacts, and then I clicked in a different row for this record, it would then take me to that record. Okay, so, and then you also have a contacts screen list view, and that would give you a list view of the screens for those people. Let's go ahead and go down and see those kind of things. Okay, we have the contacts portal that we're in now. This is the UDF portal. This is the one like is in the master of the screen on the tab within the purchase portal screen or the purchase screen. And it would have the information for the record for that particular content, and then obviously whatever is in those portals. Now we did cover this briefly, and we talked about the photo in there. So let's go down to the next one, which is the schedule portal. The schedule portal is for the popover for schedules, and this is the data that when you created in the purchase screen, it would be locked in here. And if you wanted to come over and say, for example, do a find, start a find, and do a find to find a certain record in here, for the auction schedule, and there's also obviously a list view that we'll be looking at for the auction schedule also. But let's go down here and say, for example, there's the schedule. Then we go to the purchase portal. This is the individual popover record that you saw, but this is the individual record where you can do a find in here. This is not actually a portal. This is the individual records within the portal. So if I wanted to do a find again, I would click on do action, and I could use any of the fields in here, or even the blog field at the bottom of the screen for text. And you can't search on a picture, but you can search on any text field like this one here. You can go ahead and do that and locate those. And you can also go next or last and go through the records of the different items that are in these screens. Now, like right now, we're in a single record for that particular thing. It's the only record in selection. The way you can tell that, as we said before, you can go ahead and enter in any record, click on the round button here, it'll say there are no omitted records, and there's 4 records shown. So if I wanted to go between them, I could go like this, supposedly. Let's go the other direction. And it should move between the records, and for some reason it's not doing it, but that's appropriately what it should do, is move through the different records. Also within this, it has the purchase item report, which is also included in the drop-down list of items, and that is our next screen we're going to be looking at, which is this one. And we've covered this before and talked about it as far as items that need to be in the screen. Incidentally, when I reload this for actually presenting it for the iTunes store, the actual ID for that particular purchase item record that I described in the portal, which is right here, will be included in the actual layout for the listing that we just showed you. So that's going to be an add-on, and this is an update to tell you that that is being done. And in this case, this is the list view for the auctions, and this is the different auctions that we're either going to attend or have information as far as going to them. And you can pop back into whatever record that you want to. Say, for example, if I wanted to go to police auctions, right here, I can click on that, and now I would be in the police auction screen. Okay, let's go down, and in this case, it's going to be the auction contacts that are part of the auction activity thing. Here's the 2 guys, Ben Franklin and Ralph. We haven't seen Ben yet, so I'm just going to pop over and show you that. And in this one, if you go to the related contacts, you'll see Ben and Ralph Mann in that record. Okay, so this is how you would see them. And of course, if you click on the end of the record, it'll take you back into that portal. Okay, so let's go to the next one, which is the auction contacts. Now this is the individual. If you want to search, for example, in the police auctions and look for the individual person here, you can go ahead and start a find and find that person. You could actually search on this data up here, but basically when you're in the screen, you're looking for a contact. Or you may want to look in here and see if there's anybody that has text in the screen that matches something that you're looking for. And if you're so inclined to keep birthdays and anniversaries, you can search for a date, and every record that has that date would come up in front of you. And of course, you can also search on these records, which is a type of contact and relationship and department and contact phone or email. Any of those can be used. And of course, you can always delete the row record. It would obviously not delete the top part, but it would only delete that particular individual in that company for that particular deal. Okay, so what we've done here, and let's recap, the last thing we're going to be looking at is the auction schedule screen. And this is the actual scheduled things that you have, all of the schedules for all the different vendors and the location and the information. Like here's police auction. Now in this case, it's missing its primary data in here. And all that would be added by somebody going back in the record and actually creating, in this particular case, the data that needs to be in there as far as auction scheduling, which is this here. So as you create these, that would create the data for that particular schedule screen. Be aware, do not create records in the portal screens. Don't go in there and create them there. Create them in the popover on this screen. Edit these areas in here, and don't edit them in the portal. For example, if I go to the portal and there's no new record button here, you don't see one. So you should not be creating new records or new data. Now you can edit a current field in there. If you wanted to change testing to items available to something else, you could do that, and you can edit them in here. But you do not create new records. And that's, for example, clicking on the plus, bad. Don't do that. That'll screw up the record. It'll screw it up because it's not matched back to that particular row in the portal within the popover on the actual auction screen over here. And that's very important that you understand that. This is a relational database. This is the primary screen. These are secondary screens. So do not try to create actual new records within a portal record. What are portal records? Anything that says portal on them. You can not also create them in list views. Just keep the top record, in this case like the buyer and the auction purchases. Use those as the two primary screens where you can add new records. Down here, these are, we'll get to those in the near future, but these are somewhat a prime screen, and we'll talk about that. And these are additional things like the sales listing view, and we're going to cover those in the next video. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.